When this woman was on the verge of death, she uttered 5 life-changing words to her partner. But before we start, please give the video a like and make sure to subscribe to WonderBot and hit the bell so you'll never miss any uploads from us. It's November 2018 and Rhonda White is lying in a hospital bed with her family close by. At this point, she's been battling cancer for about 2 months and the disease has taken a heavy toll. Despite her condition though, she still manages to summon up the energy to whisper 5 mind-blowing words to her boyfriend. A resident of Iona, Michigan, White was like countless other people her age prior to her cancer diagnosis. Indeed, the 50-year-old was the matriarch of a large family, keeping watch over her children. And in addition to that, her love life appeared to be in a good place as well. In recent years, White had been dating a man named Brian Parkhouse, and they'd been going steady for some time. So on that note, all seemed to be going well as she coped with the ups and downs of daily life. However, everything changed later that year following a gut-wrenching visit to a medical facility. As previously mentioned, White was diagnosed with cancer at that time, and her health went on to deteriorate over the next couple of months. By November 2018, the battle appeared to be coming to an end as the Iona resident was staying in a hospice. But at that point, she caught everyone off guard when she uttered 5 words in Brian's ear. When we grow older, we begin to think about certain aspects of our lives more and more. In keeping with that, health is usually at the forefront of those thoughts. After all, one of our biggest collective fears is falling victim to a disease that could end our lives prematurely. White could certainly attest to that, as her world was turned upside down in September 2018 following a devastating diagnosis at the hospital. White's struggles had begun at the start of that month when she complained of a nasty headache at home. Unfortunately for the mom, the pain didn't show signs of subsiding, prompting her to visit a medical facility. Given her symptoms, the hospital staff then decided to run some tests to determine the issue. At that stage, White underwent a couple of MRI scans before receiving the results. As it turned out, she was suffering from a brain tumor, but that didn't signal the end of her ailments. Alongside that, the parent was also told that she had a form of skin cancer known as melanoma. Off the back of that shocking discovery, White's physicians then made a significant decision later that day. Indeed, they performed an urgent procedure to take care of the tumor. Thankfully, the doctors were able to remove the growth from her brain, rounding off a whirlwind few hours for her loved ones. Looking back on that time, one of White's daughters gave some insight while speaking to People magazine in November 2018. Unsurprisingly, it proved to be a very stressful period for all concerned. "It was one of the craziest days of my life," Jordan White recalled, "and there was a lot of crying." But while the tumor was no longer a factor after the surgery, White still needed to deal with the melanoma. Tragically though, she was given some bleak news on that front by her doctors. Following a few more tests, they noted that the cancer had spread to her liver and one of her lungs. Prior to White's health issues, she lived a fairly normal life back in her hometown of Iona. She'd plied her trade at a local car factory where she'd worked as a quality auditor. Furthermore, the 50-year-old was also part of a large family, welcoming 4 children into the world during her younger years. Alongside Jordan, White had 2 other daughters, named Jasmine and Brianna, as well as a son named Derek. Additionally, she became a grandparent in her later life too, following the birth of a young Bryce Connor. And away from that, 2015 proved to be another important year in the mom's life. For you see, White had formed a romantic relationship with Brian Parkhouse during that time. Much like her, Parkhouse also hailed from Michigan, growing up in the town of Wacusta. The happy couple were together for the next 3 years, completely unaware of what was coming in the latter half of 2018. As we mentioned earlier, White's cancer was now affecting other parts of her body, which led to a heartbreaking prognosis. Speaking to the Spectrum Health website in November 2018, she touched upon those conversations at the hospital. The grandma said, "I was told I didn't have much time to live." The NHS website also confirmed that once the melanoma has spread to other parts of the body, not much else can be done. In those instances, doctors try their best to contain the disease and make the patient more comfortable. The Iona resident, however, was given a rather grave time frame by her physicians. As White's health continued to deteriorate in the weeks after the diagnosis, her doctors then shared some gut-wrenching information with her loved ones. In their mind, there was a high chance that the 50-year-old would pass away before Thanksgiving in 2018. And those fears were only strengthened in the early part of November. White's condition took a real turn for the worse during that period, to the point where she was struggling to speak. By this time, she was being cared for by hospice staff who tended to her needs. However, as the mom of 4 continued to battle her cancer, a doctor came up with an unorthodox idea to help. Dr. Gretchen Rowe and her colleagues tried to ease White's discomfort through a variety of different medicines. And in the end, the group stumbled upon an unusual concoction that thankfully brought her back from the brink. Rowe went on to describe this moment as a miracle in an article on the Spectrum Health website. Those thoughts were somewhat echoed by White's mom, Sherry Taylor, as well, who was there at the time. Shortly after the new medication took effect, she told the health site, "Yesterday, we did not even know if she was going to come out of it. At 4 o'clock yesterday, she woke up and she was talking to us." No one could have predicted what eventually happened when White caught sight of Park House. Despite being mortally ill, she shared a truly touching moment with her long-term partner before uttering 5 simple words. On that note, daughter Jordan described the scene during her interview with People magazine. "White was in and out of it last Monday," Jordan recalled, "but she got on some medicine and woke up Tuesday. And she saw Brian and they were talking. She was like, 'Baby, will you marry me?' It was awesome and fantastic, and everyone in the room was excited. We weren't expecting that at all." Following White's surprise proposal, Park House quickly accepted and shed a few tears with his future wife. Yet, while this was a wonderful moment, time was still against the happy couple. Even though the former auditor had recovered from her previous state, she was still in a precarious position at the hospice. So with that in mind, the staff then sprang into action as they planned to hold the wedding ceremony a day later. The event was set to take place at the facility, with everyone chipping in. Thanks to that hard work, everything was in place 24 hours on from White's request. The speed of that particular turnaround might have come as something of a surprise to a few people, but White wasn't one of them. Looking ahead to the ceremony, she told the Spectrum Health website, "You don't need a lot of time to plan a wedding. You just need 2 hearts that care." However, that's not to say that the hospice staff didn't have a lot of work to do before the wedding, as Jordan explained. "They were so excited," she told People. "They got cake for us. They brought us a chaplain, a harpist, and a guitarist. And their efforts didn't end there. In addition to that, someone else also stumbled upon a purple wig for White to wear at the wedding. The hairpiece matched the color of the bride's dress, completing her outfit on the day. But this bittersweet story had one more twist in store when Jordan's sister, Brianna, came up with an idea. Due to White's ailing health, Brianna wanted to tie the knot with her partner too. As a result of that, the event at the hospice became a double wedding. The 50-year-old's daughter told People, "Since this all happened so fast, I couldn't stand the idea that she wouldn't be able to see my wedding." With everyone in place, about 40 guests attended the double wedding ceremony at the hospice on November 15, 2018. From there, the 2 couples went on to exchange their vows before becoming husband and wife in the most surprising of circumstances. As for the event itself, Jordan was extremely impressed. White's daughter told the magazine, "It was probably one of the coolest services I've been to. It was truly a beautiful wedding. The chaplain really took the time to know us, and there were some inside family jokes. And my mom was really impatient. She shoved the ring on my finger." Brianna and her new husband, Jason Musser, were just as thrilled, with the former claiming that she'd never seen White display so much joy. Furthermore, Musser told Spectrum Health, "I've been with Brianna for 8 years. Rhonda is pretty much like a mother to me. She's always excited about so many things." After the wedding ceremony was completed, White was then taken to a room at the hospice via her wheelchair. Sadly, she passed away just a couple of days from tying the knot with Park House. But despite the heartbreaking loss, her daughters wanted to make something clear to the public. Brianna and Jordan informed People, "We don't want people to feel sorry for our situation." From there, the former added, "White fought it every single day. We want them to be happy that she got to get married." Although they weren't looking for sympathy, the sisters did try to raise some funds following White's passing. Indeed, Jordan set up a GoFundMe page in an attempt to cover White's medical expenses at the hospital. The fundraising effort was subsequently shared over 370 times online before it was eventually closed. By that point, though, it had brought in close to $1,400 in donations, with users looking to help out the family. Meanwhile, White made one final Facebook post just before she passed away after the wedding. Sharing the Spectrum Health article written about the event, the mom simply wrote, "Forever and a day."